have the AICPA and some state boards issued warnings about taking the ERC. And also the IRS, a lot of warnings from the IRS. Basically, the thing that they're warning about is you've got kind of two factors within the US tax system that I think a lot of people don't realize. The first is that you don't actually need to be a licensed tax professional in order to file taxes for people. Basically, there's almost no restrictions around who can file for these credits. You could self-prepare it if you wanted to. Now, should you? Probably not. And so the warning that they have is, you have these people who are pushing these erroneous credits who either, number one, never even sign the tax returns. I see that very commonly with weird claims that come across my desk, is that the person that did the initial claim work did not file the returns, did not sign the returns. They're basically like a phantom preparer. So you've got that situation. And then the second is, even for the ones that do, you have this really large enforcement gap with these kinds of programs. And the reason for that is, like with any kind of tax filing, basically the burden of proof is on you as the taxpayer. And when you sign tax returns, you're making the statement that you've reviewed the laws, that you've reviewed the numbers, and that what you're submitting to them is factually correct information. And that you're making that assertion as the taxpayer that what you're providing is correct information. And so the IRS it's not like they have to audit these before they issue the funds, and that they're at any kind of fault for issuing the funds without auditing the information that you provide, because you are making the assertion that you're following the laws and that it's the correct information. And so basically how the process has gone for the past couple of years is that the IRS has been so behind on the processing that for the most part, very large claims will get sent to a second inspection. But a lot of the mid to smaller size claims, which impact a lot of taxpayers that were pulled into these erroneous claim situations, don't get inspected before they get remitted. And so what happens is the IRS will get the claim from this, unscrupulous provider. And because you've signed that, yes, we're entitled to this, they just, they say, okay, well, where do we send the check? And that's basically all that happens. And then it comes into, after the fact, an inspection can happen. And because you signed and said that, I was authorized to take this money, they can then come and claw the money back. And that's the problem. It's really working with an unscrupulous tax provider. And so I think the main safeguards that you have as an organization, the first is have your tax professional involved in the process, because they'll be able to sense if something's weird. If you're dealing with a salesperson and not a tax professional, that's also very weird, because this is a technical tax issue. It's not a product that's sold. It's either appropriate for your organization or it's not. And that's something that you want a professional assessing, not somebody trying to push you into something. So you'll be able to sense if things are off, and then just working with somebody that's a credentialed, professional, where, you have some kind of recourse. They have a reputation in the industry. Things like that can be really helpful. I wouldn't be pushed by any companies that have really fancy marketing, or even that have said that they've filed for lots of claims, because like I said, we have a huge enforcement gap. And so it's only recently that the IRS is really starting to, up their investigations, and the gears of bureaucracy grind really slowly. It's going to take them a really long time to get to the bottom of all this. They said in a recent notice that they've uncovered $8 billion of fraud already between the PPP and ERC, and they just haven't really even started. I know just from personal experience with some, bad claim filers out there, I can see on their websites that they're advertising that they've filed for billions of dollars of claims. So it's going to be billions of dollars of adjustments that need to happen. So just have your tax professional involved in the process. And like I said, if you, like an assessment or a second set of eyes on the situation, we're happy to, get involved. But just be very wary. Don't get pushed into anything. Trust your gut. And then, having gone through that presentation that I do, those really are the waypoints of things that need to be considered. So if the person that you're talking to isn't going into that same level of detail, or, seems to be disagreeing with, basic stances that the IRS has taken on things, or, pushy, or saying you qualify under, weird loopholes and things like that, I'd be concerned about that.